experiment, each participant in both practice groups recorded 10 initial baseline shots using their dominant hand.
Before acquisition trials were performed, each participant recorded 10 initial baseline shots using their non-dominant hand. This data was collected to compare scoring results from day 1 to the final retention scores.
To determine which distribution of practice produces greater results in acquisition of free throw shots with the non-dominant hand, 5 participants, 3 male and 2 female, were separated into 2 groups: massed practice and distributed practice. Each group shot 150 shots a week for 2 weeks, for a total of 300 shots. The massed group consisted of 2 female subjects and performed a practice session of 150 shots per week. Alternatively, the distributed group consisted of 3 male subjects and had 3 sessions of 150 shots per week.
On the last practice day, each participant recorded 10 final retention shots to measure improvements made from practice.
This chart is our baseline data, which are the first 10 shots taken with our non-dominant hand and our dominant hand. This data served as a standard for comparison with all acquisition trials.
The scoring system for this experiment consisted of the amount of shots each subject made during their respective practices. Each subject recorded how many free throws they made throughout their practice sessions and compared them to their baseline test results. This process was repeated by all subjects at a pace that fit their schedule. The success of their experiment was determined by the performance of the subjects during their retention trials.
This table shows the final retention shots for each participant. Initially, the distributed group had an average of 2 shots per 10 shots, and the massed group had an average of 1 shot per 10 shots. In the final retention, the distributed group shot an average of 4.3 shots, and the massed group an average of 2.
This table shows that a distributed practice group showed the largest improvement from the first week to second week, going from 19.7% of free throws made in the first week to 29.7% of free throws made on the second week. The mass practice group went from 9.6% of free throws made on the first week to 10.3% of free throws made on the second week.
This graph is a visual representation of shots made per trial by each participant.